Hello, this is Spellbinder doing the weekly report on the Unfiltered News by the Reality Zone by G. Edward Griffin. This week is February 18th through the 24th. Headlines you may have missed in this year 2012. Here is the comic strip for this week. It's go collect unemployment, collect student aid, free lunch. That's not how I remember the game. Very good. Now to the headlines for this week. Despite being created to protect the public, government agencies like the FDA and the USDA are bowing down to biotech giant They are bowing down to Monsanto's through loose regulations and inadequate review processes, beyond denying consumers the right to know if products contain GMO ingredients. These agencies have taken a step further and are now compromising public safety in favor of enabling Monsanto's profits to surge. Money over life. And the latest move, more here. Oh man, bad news from Monsanto. Evils with Bill Gates behind it. Details of the Greek deal are revealed. Banks will lose 74% or more of what they loaned to the government. 4 banks in France, Germany, Britain, and Belgium lost $10.6 billion last year from their Greek holdings. Britain's Royal Bank of Scotland wrote off $1.1 trillion before feeling too sorry for the banks. Remember that the money they loaned was created out of nothing. Absolutely nothing. Reuters, February 23rd. U.S. Ron Paul is the only Republican candidate for the president whose budget would reduce the national debt. Santorum would add $7 trillion and Gingrich would add $4.5 trillion. Paul would cut $2 trillion. Washington Post, go Ron Paul, February 23rd. Obama administration is blocking Freedom of Information Act request about his connections to lobbyists linked to Monsanto. The excuse for withholding information is that it could damage the competitiveness of the group doing the lobbying. That's right, can't hurt the lobbyist. Activist Post, February 22nd. Evil people. U.S. government admits that over the years it secretly experimented on U.S. citizens without their knowledge or consent by injecting them with plutonium to see how deadly the effects would be. That's perfectly acceptable under collectivism, in which it is said that individuals must be sacrificed for the greater good of the greater number. Hitler said that. It's not acceptable under individualism, in which individual is considered to be the unit of the highest value in society. Natural society, February 22nd. Heed that. It'll come in use. Russian foreign minister declares that an Israel attack on Iran would have catastrophic consequences, hinting that Russia would come to the aid of Iran. This is in the wake of the breakdown of negotiations between Iran and the UN Atomic Energy Agency. Iran says it will not bow down to pressure from Israel and the US to cancel its nuclear program. Jerusalem Post, February 22nd. We're getting into deep water here. Gotta pull back. California legislature working on bill to hold utilities accountable for smart meter violations of FCC. Stop smart meters, February 22nd. These things are deadly. They will kill you. They will irradiate you until you die of cancer. Video. Over 1,000 active duty military and veterans march at the White House to show support for Ron Paul's non-interventionist foreign policy. Washington Times, February 21st. There you go. We are moving forward to take our country back. U.S. From behind closed doors, the nation's banking cartel, called the Federal Reserve, writes sweeping new rules for its own operations and for its own benefit. Congress has zero input. WSJ, February 21st. Here we go. Card trick. To beat all card tricks. How he do it? How does he do it? Interesting. You'll get a thrill out of that. Afghanistan. More than 2,000 angry Afghans protest outside of an American air base after they learned that copies of the Koran, the Muslim holy book, were burned in a pile of garbage at a U.S. military base there. NATO troops said the books contained extremist messages. CBS News, February 21st. Yeah, let's keep beating on the wasp nest and see how many come out. Yeah. We're in trouble. Video. U.S. In a vintage video from 1987, Bill Moyers tells how the CIA covertly led to the overthrow of the Iranian government, and there was, even then, a secret U.S. government more powerful than elected officials. Don't you know? The video includes an incredibly accurate predictions of how this hidden group would grow more powerful with the passage of time and eventually bring dictatorship to America. Remember, this was broadcast in 1987. YouTube, February 21st. We are in trouble. Don't you know? Ron Paul, please help us all. Millions of pounds of toxic chemicals will be dumped on U.S. farmlands. The substance is dioxin, a component of Agent Orange. It will be used because a new generation of GMO crops have been created that can withstand the toxicity while natural crops cannot. The consequences will be: 1. Natural crops eventually will be replaced by GMO crops. 2. Farmers will have to pay royalties to the GMO seeds. 3. Toxic levels gradually will increase in soil, water, food, livestock, and humans will die because of it. Natural Society, February 21st. Artificial hamburger meat has been successfully grown in laboratory and is being touted as a solution to world hunger and animal slaughter. The protein is grown in vats laced with bovine fetal cells. Pardon us if we pass this on. Natural News, February 20th. God, Frankenfoods are coming to your market. U.S. pressure Japan into cutting oil imports from Iran by 11% in order to avoid U.S. sanctions. Reuters, February 20th. Video. Ron Paul says Judge Neil Pano would be an excellent choice for vice president. Yes, go. A ticket with Ron Paul and Neil Pano as vice president. Yes, win. WorldNet Daily, February 20th. That would be beautiful. Illinois lawmakers moved to ban the use of toxic BPA in store recipes because it is absorbed by skin and contaminates money. If legislation is passed, it could lead to nationwide charges or changes to get rid of BPA altogether. Natural Society, February 19th. Wow, get rid of that poison. 4,000 U.S. soldiers and civilians were subjected to nuclear testing experiments in the 1950s and 1960s. Daily Mail, February 19th. See how that came out. They all died an early death. Video. G. Edward Griffin, the sponsor of this newsletter. is interviewed about the Federal Reserve as a banking cartel that works solely to benefit the banks, not the people. The cartel is backed by the police power of the government, which is what makes it seem like a government agency, which it is not. Interview begins at 5:02. YouTube, posted February 18th. U.S. eyewitness makes a statement to the court that sentenced the underwear bomber and says he saw what appeared to be a government agent help the terrorist bypass the airport security and put him on the plane without a passport. He says he believes the so-called bomber was a government patsy. Mainstream media did not report his testimony. Revolution Nation, posted February 18th. Yes, and also there was videotaping of this proposed bomber on the airplane the whole time the trip took place. Do your research, Google it. Underwear bomber, just Google had videotaping going on or something, and you'll find out. You'll find out it was going on. Washington, D.C., FBI agents or FBI arrest a Muslim in another terrorist plot entirely created by the FBI itself. The so-called terrorist was only one of the plot who was not an FBI agent pretending to be an Al-Qaeda. Mainstream media played this story as another great victory by the government in thwarting the growing threat of terrorism. Anti-war, February 18th. Yeah, they lied around about that again. We know they're just trying to make headlines for themselves, make themselves look important, so we keep them employed. Video. U.S. drones kill 10 civilians for each militant or combatant. They call that collateral damage, don't you know? Activist post, February 18th. Yes, collateral damage is when they can take out one for the many. It should be the other way, right? We'll take out the one for the many, but it turns out to be the many for the one. Oh, Indiana State Commission will hear arguments this week against Obama's eligibility to be placed on the ballot. Mississippi and Arizona have also cases pending. So far, the Supreme Court has avoided the issue, don't you know? World Net Daily, February 18th. Syria makes progress quelling violence caused by rebels who are armed by NATO, but the Western media paints this as a human rights violation. When the governments do the same thing, the media reports it as defending human rights against rebels and terrorists. This is the same formula used in Iraq and Libya to build support for the U.S. goal of regime change. Infowars, February 23rd. Yes. Dr. Paul Craig Roberts shows how the U.S.-controlled media is engineering public opinion to willingly enter into the World War III scenario. PCR, February 20th. Dr. Mercola explains why root canals are not a good idea. Very important information here. Yeah, it causes cancer. People who have root canals have more of a chance of getting cancer than people who don't get root canals. Mercola, February 18th. Video. Judge Neopano explains why Abraham Lincoln was a tyrant and that the Civil War is about keeping the Union together, not eliminating slavery. Without tax revenue from the southern states, the North would have gone bankrupt. It had nothing to do with slavery, people. It had everything to do with the South trading with the British, with cotton, and not going through the North. It had a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things you need to do research on this issue to understand what the Civil War was really, really about. YouTube posted February 18th for this, but it's the same thing. This is interesting. Some of us have trouble looking at this photo. Click to enlarge. It's very amazing. Well, that's my newsletter for this week. It looks like I got it done before 15 minutes. YouTube told me they gave me extra time, which I'm kind of amazed, actually, that they said they gave me more time, over 15 minutes. But I'm not able to use it this week for this newsletter. I was able to get through everything and comment. I'm happy about that. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And this newsletter does update throughout the week before the next newsletter next Friday. So when you go to this link I'll post in the description, you will be able to go there throughout the week and you'll see updates on this. At least what they say. And there's also on this newsletter, go to news archives. You can go back and read the news stories of weeks ago. Until next time, this is Spellbinder saying, be good or be good at it, and have a wonderful weekend. And may these headlines you've missed inform you that we're still in a fight for our freedom in America. Thank you very much. Good day.